Hello, Kevin. Good to see you
Hello.
again.
Hello, good to see you as well. Of
So,
cleanups.
how have you been since the last time we've met?
Oh, it has been a very, very busy week. A whole week. So I'm good. I'm good. Maybe not good. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm very fine, and that's more than enough.
Yeah, that's.
And how have you been?
I'm really good. Thank you. Today, I spent the whole day on the brownfield workshops, so my head is
Oh, the
steaming right now.
workshops.
Yeah, but it was honestly really great. Burak Gunnar was conducting those for us at Callstack, and I learned a lot. And tomorrow we have a part two. So today we did iOS integration, and tomorrow we'll do Android. The whole day fighting with Xcode.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. It does not sound good. I mean, it sounds like a lot of heavy work and a lot of problems on each corner, so not fun. And I wanted to say something.
Let's say hello to everyone.
Oh yeah, that would be a nice thing to do actually. Um, hello. Hi Ryan, good to see you here. We're actually waiting for you with a start. So good to have you here. And sorry, I'm just, as you maybe see, maybe not, I have quite a bit of new, fresh setup. And because of that, I have one very annoying issue.
What's that?
Usually I've been using this screen for my programming and for a lot of like this is the let's say sharing screen, right? But now when I look at this screen, I don't talk into the mic. And unless maybe and that just looks dumb. So I'm trying to move my setup on my main screen, and also additional benefit, everyone will feel like I'm actually looking at them, at you. So that's fun. However, it will take me a little bit of a while. That's why I'm just like looking into this direction, that direction, and yeah. So give me a moment to sink in with the new setup, and
I
I'm
honestly
sinking
don't
in.
don't mind if you don't stare at me all the time when we speak.
It's not really about staring, but this is a directional mic. I mean, it's not directional, but you are supposed to speak into it. When I speak like that, it's not the same effect. So I need to basically move to that screen. It's doable, but I didn't realize that before we started streaming. So completely my fault at here. So sorry for that. But yeah, let's officially begin today's
Yeah, let's
stream.
jump into it. This is a weekly live stream hosted by me, Łukasz Chludziński. Okay, so I'm gonna hide Ryan's comment. By me, Łukasz Chludziński, a software engineer at Callstack, and with Kevin, who is also a software engineer at Callstack. So this is a
Yes.
Callstack weekly live stream. What we do on this live stream is we learn new things from React universe.
Mainly learn, yeah.
Mainly learn.
We really try. We try very hard to teach, but it's often turns out that we actually learn. But it's more fun to learn in a group. So that's why we're doing that. Like it's not only fun for us. Hopefully, it's also fun for you. But also, we all learn something on each stream. And as a proof of that, I can actually admit that twice already, a day after our streams, I had opportunity to already use the knowledge I gained a day prior. So it was actually quite I got so distracted now. No worries about the setup. We are more concerned about the insights that we are going to get. And
Obsidians,
hopefully,
we are worried that we might not be able to provide the insights. Like we
I
said,
wouldn't say like that. There will be insights, but we will gather them. We will not just provide them. We will gather the insights.
We'll gather them together. Yeah.
Yeah, because one word I like to use recently, I really enjoy that, is educated guess. So an educated guess is basically when you gather all of your information and all of your knowledge and experience, and through that you are able to do something that actually AI does, because that's not by accident. That what AI does is called inference. So inference is using your current knowledge to predict the outcome of new inputs, basically. And as I see it, in this podcast, in this stream, I keep calling it podcast for some reason, but in this stream, we are trying to gain new information, process it through our brains, and via inference, give you back some more input, some additional information. So I'm quite convinced everyone will be happy and satisfied. And with that out of the way, how about we jump into the news of what happened in this week?
Yeah.
One important caveat from this week is that there was no our
This week
favorite newsletter, unfortunately. But
so this one is from last week, and it says that this week and the next week will be taking a well-deserved 2-week break. I wonder when Sebastian went. We should have asked him, like what kind of holiday he's enjoying right now. I hope someplace nice. He does a really good job for the whole React community and React Native community. So
actually, one thing I was actually wondering, and it's just me wondering, because often he gets help from like
software mention.
Yes, but not only, right? There are people who are jumping in to help.
I don't know about that, but Software Mention started helping out with the newsletter few months ago. If we have someone from Software Mention on the chat, please let us know how long. But before that, I have not observed that this newsletter was submitted by someone else than Sebastian. So if you go back 2 editions, you have Timoteusz and Tomasz, right? And then if you go back here, you have Krzysztof and Kacper also from Software Mention. If you go back here, you have Sebastian, you have... Okay, we have 2 people from Teoro.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering, because from my perspective, often people jump in to help out with the newsletter, and I'm just wondering, does the break mean that there was just nobody willing to help out, or I understand the concept of a break and of vacation, of course, but I'm just wondering if the pause is caused by nobody jumping in to help out, or just I don't really know.
Well, let's imagine this in a more optimistic way. They all went for a company retreat.
Okay.
So he gathered all of the contributors to this newsletter, and then they went to like a nice tropical island to just lay on the beach and play volleyball.
Okay. I can see that. See that.
Even though we don't have this newsletter, we have a bunch of other newsletters. So
Hello, I am Mofi. Good to see you here. Sorry, I never know when to properly greet people. So sorry if I'm jumping into what you're saying right now. I'm just being an ass. Just so everyone knows, like today I might have a slight bit more energy than Łukasz, mainly because today Łukasz had plenty of workshops. Tomorrow he has plenty of workshops, but tomorrow I am taking one day off.
You as well.
And
Everyone is taking off.
yes. right after asking, oh, why did they take a day? Oh, I don't understand.
Maybe like reach out to Sebastian, see where he is with all of the people that help out in the newsletter, and go to the same place.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna barge in, being like, "Yo, what's the news?"
Okay, let's start with the news. And actually, this is a newsletter from Callstack, and this went out just like, I don't know, yesterday or something. There is a bunch of news here that we've already covered on this show. Because this is not a weekly newsletter. I think it's monthly, and basically it's all of the stuff that Callstack has been doing, but also not. Let's see.
You know, I don't want to sound mean. I might sound a little bit mean, but most of the newsletters are usually about stuff that either Callstack or Software Mentioned released. So.
Yeah, that's fair to say. But like this one is more Callstack focused than others because this is directly from Callstack. So, community highlights first. We talked about precompiled React Native for iOS, I think last week.
Yes, we did.
React compiler getting ready for stable release. This one we haven't talked about. So let's see. So React compiler has been in the workings for years now. Like I think.
So can we start with? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to introduce like what the React compiler is.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Okay, yeah, I figured out. That's why I told you. Like, surprisingly, coffee works really well today.
So
sorry for that.
React compiler started as a project inside Facebook, I guess, back then, probably like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. It used to be called React Forget, and it was a push for more optimized React, right? And then after, I guess, 2 or 3 years of working on it, of working on the earlier version of React Forget, they thought that the direction they chose was not really the most future-proof one. So they threw it away, the implementation that they had back then, and they started from scratch. So this is what I know from ReactConf last year. That was like mentioned during the talk.
Did they just like rebranded, or did they actually start from scratch with trying to achieve the same goal but with a different approach?
Yeah, so like the goal shifted. So earlier, the goal was to just create something that is a performance utility, like performance optimization something. And then they realized that in order to achieve this goal, they have to aim for something bigger. And that something bigger is a compiler, is a step in the whole like React pipeline that understands your code on much more granular level. Because of that, they are able to do the performance improvements, but like that's almost like it's not a side effect, but also like it's a side goal as well. Because when you have compiler, then you can start like thinking about all the other things that you can do with that code if your compilation step understand what's going on under the hood.
Let me try and figure out if I understand the React compiler correctly. Because I've heard about React compiler for quite a while now, and it was always introduced to me, or either I always saw it as you add it to your project, and you can, I assume that was the reason for the previous name, forget about adding use memo, use callback, and all of the optimizations that you usually do for your components, because they will be added in compilation time. And So this is like and also,
yeah, that's what's already implemented in React compiler.
Okay, and previously it used to work like if you had manually added any memo or callback, it would make the compiler not work. At least
No,
that used to be the case. I've heard that.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Ever since we got React compiler a year and a half ago, so January, February 2024, it used to work in a way that as long as you follow the rules of React, it would detect your use memos and use callbacks, and it would just like strip them out and do it all over again, probably. But it would like.
I'm wondering, could it? Wait, it also adds use callback.
Yes. Let's see. So
Okay.
eliminating the need for manual use memo, use callback, and React memo.
Okay. So now I'd like to introduce a corner case, something we can first thing we can learn, because sometimes when I use memo or use callback, I sometimes handcraft dependencies to have a fine-grained control over when I want this element to re-render or be, because I can,
yeah, sometimes you omit one of the dependencies in the dependency array in order for the calculation not to perform in some edge case scenario.
So is there a chance that adding React compiler would add some unpredictable bugs or
I
issues?
guess so. I don't know that, but my educated guess that omitting something from dependency array breaks the rules of React. So this part will not be optimized for you.
In theory, okay, so what would be a proper approach to that? Because I've heard and I've seen people use references in those cases. That if you want to have a value used inside callback or effect, but you don't want this to like re-render each time, then you are supposed to use reference.
So like this is how it works, right? So from this code, it's gonna generate this output. So like not human readable anymore. And then thanks to that, this is much more optimized than this. Because it is like it understands your code and it's optimize it in a way that's the best, basically.
Okay. I'm just like the main thing I'm wondering is basically and it sounds like a very complex thing to do, to compile this sort of code, make it more optimized, yet also keep all of the features and all of the logic in the same way that it was. It just sounds like, very, very hard thing to do. And I'm simply wondering how they did that, because it sounds kind of amazing. And usually when I have a project, I try to add compiler as a first step, because you're basically getting a bunch of optimizations relatively for free or for cheap. Ryan asks, this brings optimization, but don't you think that using React compiler will take away from the rigor of using React? I guess you mean the like React rules, and it was like mentioned in the.
I spoke with people from Meta about that. Like my question was more about if you are introducing this step, this one, like I write this, but this is what actually runs in the browser in React Native world. Does it mean that we are introducing like another abstraction step between my code and what runs, and I lose some of the control, like queuing, like you said. I lose some of the control, but I also lose the like more grounded understanding of what actually is happening. So, like when React came about 12 years ago, it was built on the simple principle that when I change a state, the whole tree under that state will re-render. And that was something that Facebook wanted. Like this was like bringing back the control to the state. Like there was no So using this is actually maybe not backtracking, but changing that paradigm. It's no longer that I will change some state and everything down from that state will re-render, and I can opt in and opt out manually using use memo, React memo, use callback. This is no longer manually opting out of this behavior. It is basically opting out of this like default behavior by default, if you know what I mean.
You know what? I'd say that because I kind of agree with Ryan with about. I mean, it's kind of the same what happens with like people using AI now. More and more things start to happen just automatically and automagically. I hate when things are happening automatically. That's why Angular never clicked with me, because in Angular there plenty of things are convention over configuration. So you basically make something happen by just adding a file in a specific folder in a specific place, and it will automatically pick it up and inject dependencies based on whatever. I hate learning these types of rules, so I enjoy when
it's like it's harder to understand for like newcomers, right?
Yeah,
because if everything is spelled out in the code, like it's easier to follow line by line. Oh, I import this, so like this will happen, blah blah blah. But like, so the answer that I got, and I don't remember who it was, but I talked with them like last year on ReactConf in Las Vegas. The answer that I got is, this is just a next step in evolution of React, and like newcomers to React will just understand that it works this way now, and they will not be they will not be relying on the old behavior. It's only like this old projects that rely on this behavior and that use those kind of workarounds and hacks that we have some kind of issue with this. If you are right now following the rules of React, like it shouldn't be any issue with adoption. So like we have the strategies for gradually adopting React compiler, and then so like you can opt in and opt out, blah, blah, blah. For maximum control, you can use compilation mode annotation to only compile components and hooks that explicitly opt in with use memo directive. Oh, I heard about that. So you have this new directive. Yay! Do you have a sound for that on your new soundboard?
One day I can. For now, I added some changes to the...
Okay, let's do this. New directive.
It sounds like a band name, new directive.
Well, we have a lot of directives now. Use server, use client, worklet, right? So this one is new. It's use memo, and it's opt in this component into compilation by a React compiler. So if you're starting new project, it just makes sense to just like start with compiler in the first place. If you are migrating a huge code bases,
I would oppose to that. like right on, I would oppose to that. I would say, in my eyes, I would be turning on compiler right before the release. I would
Why?
strive to make my code optimized and working well in dev build, and then on staging or something like that, I would turn on the compiler to add this additional bit of pizzazz and of optimization.
What's the gain in this approach? Like, what's the business
Understanding,
value?
mainly understanding. I like to understand the code. I like to understand, like, because by just simply, usually when I work and I see somewhere the memo or use memo or things like that, I instantly assume that this might be a heavy component, or I assume that this shouldn't be rendered, or in old lingo, I'm not sure if you remember the old lingo, it's a dumb component. Like there used to be dumb components and smart components. Smart components have some like logic, and dumb components only take in the props and they basically display them. So, like, in my eyes, usage of use memo, use callback, and all of those strategies, they add information. They are valuable in my eyes. And I'm not saying that React compiler is not good, it's amazing, but I would add it as a last step to basically push the code even into even more optimized things and to optimize stuff that I wouldn't even think to optimize. But
So that's like, in my mind, that's like that it has like two huge disadvantages. So first of all, disadvantage one, you just waste effort and energy and time and money for your developers. Like, they spend time writing code by hand that can be done in compiler in a much better and like broader way. So that's the first like huge disadvantage. The second disadvantage is that you've been basically developing and testing your app for months, and then you introduce a huge makeover, like the huge last step right before going to production. That may introduce additional bugs. So
yeah, see, that's
like,
that. Yeah, that's with this one I do agree, and that's I'm really wondering, is there a way in which adding React compiler can introduce new bugs? So basically, everything works fine, and then you compile your code, and suddenly something doesn't work like you would expect it to work.
yeah, like this is like there is a whole incremental adoption documentation how to do that properly. So like, if you have a
but
new code base, like, just turn on all of the things that you know that you will need, like on almost day one, because you will need to use them. So better to shape your code and shape your processes and shape your like development lifecycle around the tools that you know that you're gonna need, instead of just like adding them on top. Because like, it's not only that you spend time and money optimizing the code unnecessarily in the first place, then you have to spend additional time and money to like integrate with the tool that you need to use.
I'm mainly concerned right now about the money I would spend while I am implementing something, like to Command S to save my file, and then I see the behavior in the app is not something I'd expect.
Yeah,
And
you can introduce bugs.
I'm experienced. I have a lot of experience behind me, so I guess I've seen a lot of weird issues, and I usually know where to look for them. But I'm just wondering if, this will basically possibly create a new type of issues I've never seen before. So yeah, I don't know. It's in my eyes kind of gain something, lose something, and it's still, yeah, it's worth using that. But I'm gonna still use memo and use callback, mainly because it's kind of like
It's so easy to break though. If you write those by hand, it is so easy to break.
I've never written a function inside a component that I didn't wrap in use callback or in use. Like I started, instead of using use state, I started using use memo in plenty of spaces, because sometimes I do, I do use state. I have a value of state and then setter, and then I change state inside use effect when something changes. And I was like, why do I do that? I can just use memo and trigger the change instantly without writing additional code. So I don't know, like those optimizations kind of became my style of writing code at this point. So, I hate to notice that, but looks like I'm turning into one of those programmers. Oh, in my days, we used to write like that, and I'm going to write like that still.
But like, don't you see that like the compiler is like the same direction as we have with Expo plugins for native code? So Expo for a long time didn't allow you to change the native code. They want you to like use pre-built native code and just add on top of that. If you want to change it, you don't change it directly in the files. You change it into some configuration so that each time you rebuild the native project in Expo, you just adding those like custom lines on top of that. So like this is the same direction. Like you write your code as clean and as simply as possible, and then you allow some build process to change it into something optimized. And it's gonna optimize it the same way each time, much better than you can. And then you don't have to manage that. You don't have to maintain that optimization layer. And like,
yeah, I get you. I do understand. And I also agree. Like I'm going to be using compiler everywhere. I will be programming in every project I have. I will be using that. But it's just like built into me right now that I'm not, let's say, I'm optimistically cautious. Because I know that in current landscape of how technology looks like right now, plenty of things are like overhyped or underhyped. Like there are rarely things that are, oh, this is a cool thing, and turns out, wow, it's a cool thing. And I know that React compiler has been with us for a long, long time. So yeah, okay, you convinced me. I would say add React compiler to every new project. And if you're adding React compiler to an old or a bigger project, use their guideline to like have fine-grained control over that. Because
you can still do this.
Yeah.
You can still opt out. So like it's better to opt in for everything and then opt out on granular level than the other way around.
I would use an unfortunate language when something fucky happens. If you see that something fucky happens in a component, just opt out and move on. I'm really wondering what types of bugs could happen. Like one of the types of bugs I see could happen would be callbacks suddenly re-rendering or like reinitiating too many times. Use memo changing. Like I'd say that it wouldn't be bugs per se, but more of performance would go down because of sudden.
You can have bugs. So you can have bugs if you start optimizing everything, and then you rely on some of those components under like down the tree to re-render and like trigger some side effects.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if they don't re-render, they don't trigger the side effects, and you might rely on those side effects in some other parts of your application.
You caught me here because I honestly thought, because I'm using use memo, and worst case scenario, this one value will like be updated too many times, but then you are correct. Couple of elements in the tree could be using this value inside use effect, which I dedicated to be used only when this one value changes.
Well, I
Yeah,
think this is like also not the way that you should write your code, that you rely on side effects in some other parts of your tree to like do stuff, blah blah blah. I don't know.
yeah. Like,
So yeah.
Because it's just sometimes kind of, I would even say, impossible to write in a different way. Like, I also prefer, I would call it deterministic way of writing code, right? Where
Yeah.
if something happens, like fetch or some changes in database or whatever, it's usually triggered by user interaction. So putting this type of action inside use effect would not be a good thing to do. But sometimes it's maybe that's just my flaw, because I'm not really used to use references. I rarely use references, mainly because I think I don't fully understand them yet. And with state, it's super obvious. You update the state, it re-renders everything, right? Or changes stuff or triggers other renders. But with reference, I struggle to understand when it's like what happens when you change it. When you change it, there are like, all of those, the order of what happens when it happens. And maybe that's my issue. Maybe that's why I have sometimes kind of too complicated code, and I use effect instead of being more deterministic. But
I think it's safe to say that we covered this news.
Oh yeah, totally.
The React compiler. Let's just move on. So React compiler, nice. This is something that was new for us. Next.js 15.4 Turbopack reached blah blah blah. This one we didn't talk about, but I guess this
Have you
is
been
not
using
really
Next.js?
Sorry?
Have you ever used Next.js?
Oh yeah. Like I'm not a web developer, so when I want to build a website, I honestly struggle to do it just with JS and HTML. I always use Next.js. I don't even use like standalone React. I always start with Next.js, and I know that it like the bundle size is higher than I need, but like it gives me all of the developer utilities that help me out just like pushing this website.
Yeah, like one of my most favorable things of using Next.js, I'm gonna do a small plugin if I can, like a small plug. I mean, it's just an app I wrote using Next.js. So it's designed to show you all of the keys that are in a scale. So you pick a key, then you pick a scale below, and it shows you all of the keys that are in this scale on a piano. I also tried to prepare the same version, but for guitar, which is in the next tab. So if you play on a guitar...
I don't know what's going on in this.
Well, I don't want to dive into like scales.
Music theory.
Yeah, music theory, but basically, if sounds are in a scale, then no matter in which order you press them, they will also sound nice. Because sometimes when you press a couple of keys, they sound weird, but with the scale, they usually nicely fit in together. I didn't finish that yet. And this is the thing I mentioned when we were talking about Tailwind.
Yeah.
I tried to generate that with Tailwind, and I had plenty of issues. Finally, I managed to do that. Of course, I have a plugin
made by queuing.
Yeah. Oh, you're following me. Of course, I follow you also.
Just started, and like this is the account for streaming. I follow you on the different account as well.
Yay, double follow. But yeah,
okay,
I just wanted to... I just wanted to kind of give myself credentials that I've used Next.js. But
like everyone is using Next.js.
But what I wanted to say, I finally didn't. One of my favorite things about using Next.js is that you also get for free all of the
Hosting.
Vercel's hosting. Like, it's so good. The free tier is amazing. Like, whenever I want to just throw something out and test it, I straight up just use Vercel. I create Next.js app, and it's a pure pleasure. So I'm excited every time I see some updates from them, because the biggest updates I remember were when they were introducing their new router, like the folder.
App router.
Yeah, the app router, which is now also actually used in Expo. And people seemed not really that happy about it. But I decided to learn it. There were plenty of issues with that, which are now fortunately fixed. But I'm kind of sorry. I just want to say I'm very hyped to see what did they add.
Nothing really. This release is about Turbopack reaching 100% integration test compatibility. So I don't know if you know when they first announced Turbopack, but it was almost 4 years ago, I want to say.
Turbopack has 4 years? I've been using it for 3.
Let me check. Or either 3 or 4. So, yeah, it's 3.
I've been using Turbopack with Turbo Repo.
React Native. Okay. The React Native show podcast. Łukasz, Zach, and Paweł. Let's see.
Oh, you had a talk about that.
No, I had a podcast with Paweł and with Zach Jackson, and it was 2 years ago. It is 3. It's 2022. Okay, so it's almost 3 years, because like on this episode of podcast we were discussing the like Webpack, Turbopack, and like Turbopack just was released back then. So like it took 3 years for Turbopack to reach 100% integration test compatibility, meaning maybe like soon it's gonna be like ready for production use, because right now it's only I think recommended for like development builds.
Okay.
It's incredibly fast, right? Like compared to
they have pretty nice caching.
Turbopack. So Turbopack,
and relatively easy to set up. I mean, usually when I've been using Turbopack, I've been using it with Turbo Repo. And I'm not sure, like, are monorepos still okay? Because the vibe and popularity has been shifting so many times already. When I started working, a popular thing was to implement microservices. And then everyone decided that actually having one repository with everything is better.
Well, that's the 2 different concepts.
I kind of know, but
microservices and like monorepos or like separate repos are like different concepts altogether.
I know. However,
if you want to know about that, you can watch my latest podcast with Jordan Powell from NX.
Oh, okay.
That came out 3 weeks ago. We talk about monorepos and turbo repos and all of the repos and NX repositories and monorepos, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
All of that. So watch that. Okay, the the development here is that they reached integration test and there are some stability improvements. Let's move on. So that's next one. So out of 3 of this newsletter, we already have like 2 that we haven't discussed yet. Reanimate
wow,
stable release.
boys already did stable release. God damn, they're fast.
Who?
Reanimated 4.
We talked about this. We had
No. We talked about when they wait.
No.
So those highlights are from what? I thought they did like I thought it was just released. What is what is the life cycle of a release?
Well, first you do alpha, then beta, then like stable production ready. And it was production ready when we discussed it.
I thought it's
Look, this is from month and a half ago.
Okay. Yeah, of course I remember we talked about Reanimated. I had I had such a blast on that stream, but I thought it's that they switched to a stable release, meaning that they gathered the feed. Okay, so I just need to learn more stuff about the life cycle of a release. Yes, okay. And I just showed everyone how uneducated in releases I am.
Don't worry.
I am not.
So yeah, just like to recap a few new things. You can use CSS animations and transitions, which we discussed on the live stream, which are really, really cool. And Kevin, when he saw like the new API that this is providing, he says that the old API is shit now.
Yeah.
That's a direct quote.
I believe so, yeah.
And then
I think I even said disgusting.
Well, you said shit as well.
I might have connected. It might have been discussing shit. But overall,
and then they extracted worklets to separate package. And then it's not mentioned here, but they also dropped support for all architecture.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did not mention that.
They definitely did mention that. And we did mention that. So when I search AR... Yep. The animated file requires you to use the new architecture, migrating to which may require blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So let's go next. The Google combining OS and Android, we talked about that. And then this one, the many JavaScript runtimes of the last decade. This is a very long blog post that I skimmed through. I haven't read it all, but like this is Jamie Birch, a friend of the podcast. I had him on the podcast as well, and friend of Callstack. And like he's basically explaining a lot of different JavaScript runtimes here. Really nice blog post, really in depth. And if you want to learn about JavaScript runtimes, you should read it. Okay. So when we go to, those were community highlights from the past months, I think. And then Callstack Incubator highlights. Callstack Incubator is basically our R&D department. So we have like a bunch of people working there, probably like 10, 15 at a time. And like the core team is probably like 5 or 7 people working on some really cool shit. So the Apple on-device LLM, we talked about that already. React Native Brownfield. Have we talked about that?
I don't think so. I don't recall.
So I have a podcast about that as well. I had Oskar Kwaśniewski and Burak Gunner on the podcast where we discussed this. Basically, Callstack had this package for a long time. And like they just like did a big overhaul of this package. What it helps you do is it helps you package your React Native bundle. Like it allows you to package the React Native parts of your application in native bundle, in native library, so framework for iOS and then AAR for Android. And that package then is consumed by the native app, so that whoever is working on the native app doesn't have to have the bundler running, doesn't have to know anything about JavaScript, React Native at all. They will just consume your bundled, your packaged package as it was any other library for their native ecosystem.
Okay.
And I spent today 8 hours learning about that, how to do it. And this package makes it much more easy. And then if you use React Native Enterprise Framework, it's more easier again still.
Okay. You know, those workshops are still ahead of me. Like, it's not like I didn't participate in them because I didn't want to. It's just that I'm in the next group. So
it's incredible.
I'm going to learn about that. But like one of my, I think not only my issues, it's what I've heard, it's quite common, having a problem with understanding what is a native module, basically. Like I feel like plenty of people who are using React Native don't really understand how React Native works.
So like native module is like a different scope of this. Like this is the other way around, actually. The brownfield. Do you know what brownfield means, actually?
Yes, I know that the greenfield is basically an app created.
But like, where did the term come from?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, so in civil engineering, when you build something from scratch, you call it a greenfield. And then when the land that you build on is already like occupied and you have to like, you are not building from scratch, is a brown fuck. I'm not explaining this really well.
Oh, you said about brown fuck.
Let's do this.
I assume that it's because of the mud and all of the things that happened while you were working on that. Okay, so it's metaphorical. I kind of expected.
It's not metaphorical. It's just like we took an engineering term from like different field. That's all. Okay, I'm not gonna do the... What are greenfield and brownfield terms in civil engineering? And then blah, 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 blah. So greenfield is land that has never been developed, built on, or used for industrial, blah, blah, blah. Design flexibility, cost, blah, 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 drawback, new infrastructure. Brownfield site is land that has previously been developed. Okay, maybe vacant, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but that's what I assume. That I would assume that it comes from an actual, like, not really a metaphor, but an observation. If you come to a field that has been never touched, it's usually green. But if there were buildings or other like stuff developed on the ground, it's gonna get brown, especially in like civil engineering and in like older times when you had, you know, all of the workers, horses and everything walking around the field, it's gonna get brown and muddy.
Yeah. So in terms of React Native, the brownfield approach, meaning adding React Native parts to already existing native app. Yeah. So when you like start new React Native project, that's greenfield, because like you mostly are using React Native on its own.
Yeah, but see, that's the case. That's why I said that people don't really understand what is like how React Native works, because if I could like take one step back, React is much simpler, I believe. Because React is like much simpler to understand, because basically all of those components you write, they are turned into view and displayed. They are very like one-to-one. Like view you write in the app, it's going to be displayed. Fairly simple. But
well, you know what? You know what and why? Because like the code that you write looks extremely similar to the
HTML.
code that is actually rendered, right? So
Yeah.
you write the JSX and it gets transpiled, compiled, blah, 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 to HTML, and those look alike. But actually, like, those are not the same tags. Like, React does a lot of things under the hood in terms of, like, changing the JSX to the HTML. But, like, conceptually, visually, it looks the same.
Exactly, because it's conceptually similar. And I would even argue that you could achieve the same view and the same display of an app in terms of file structure and things like that. But with React Native, it's more about binding, parsing everything underneath into a native module and everything. So it's like it's basically like descriptive language, because you describe what you want to achieve, but then it's still all of that is like parsed and changed and modified into some different technologies. Like that's why we can write once and run everywhere. That's the idea of React Native. But I understand how it works, but I'm not like writing a native module. It's quite complex. I also managed to do it with like a couple of examples. But understanding the brownfield is like it still requires you to understand how React Native works, because from my perspective, I just create a project, I run the app, and it runs. So what do you mean I need to somehow inject the React Native into the app? I mean, React Native works as a mobile app. So, it kind of creates this, like with web, it would be just basically drag and drop. Like you would have no issues running a different app inside another app. Like you would write one thing in what are the query, jQuery, other thing in PHP, and everything is, parsed and easily displayed in a web app. But with the brownfield, I can easily understand why people might struggle understanding why it's a problem in the first place.
Yeah, but it's also like the brownfield approach is really not that needed for most of the projects, right? Like it has its place, and like with bigger and bigger adoption of React Native, larger and larger organizations and applications are starting to using like the benefits of React Native, but they don't want to like get rid of all of the legacy applications and systems that they already have. So that's why like they need to like implement the React Native like brownfield approach. For like most projects out there, like greenfield would be more than enough. And also like Expo is like the additional step. Like brownfield, greenfield, and Expo is here because like Expo is already like hiding even the greenfield approach from you. It's also like making this a website on mobile for you. It's not like not really, I'm simplifying here, but like you know what I mean. So like the fascinating thing that you can achieve with React Native brownfield is that you can have different, so you can have your native views and native screens and native navigation, and only some of those screens can be fully React Native, and you can also like have only some components, some parts of native screens be in React Native. So, for example, just one button can be a React Native component inside of fully native app.
Can I ask, how would it be visible inside Xcode? Because in Xcode, like
just like your regular your regular Swift function or your regular Swift view.
So it would be actually seen like because when I was doing a course on Swift, it used the builder, this storybook, I think. No, how is it called?
I know what you mean. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
like basically this like plug and play view of all of your screens where you can just
I'm
like drag and
telling
drop.
storyboard.
Storyboard, yeah, in storyboard.
Yeah.
So would it be actually visible in storyboard as React Native or something like that, like a view that just displays?
I guess so. We haven't got to that part yet.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just curious because, as we mentioned, we know a lot, but it's impossible to know everything. So
Yeah, so that's that. Let's go further. So there is a new book about exactly this, React Native brown field, but I guess I'd have to like sign up for this. Incremental React Native adoption in native apps.
oh, you know what? I'm like really need to ask, and I would really like to know. Lovely people who are listening, I'm really curious now. How much experience do you have with programming, with React Native, with like development world? And I'm asking because a lot of topics that we discussed on today, they are relatively interesting for people who spend a bit more time in programming world and struggled with bigger projects, right? Because let's be honest, if you are just creating an app and you like programming and you're interested in React Native, whatever, you just create an app, write whatever you want to write, create it, voila, done, right? But at some point, apps get bigger, require more maintenance, and that's when things like Turbopack or monorepos or or you need to add your input into a very complex project. That's when the brownfield comes in. Like these are very important and seen in the wild and actual use cases, but I'm just really I'm really wondering how much experience do you have in this world, because this would help me understand our audience and help me understand if, let's say, for a next week episode, maybe we could fine tune what we talk about to be more easier topics. I'm maybe not easier topics, but
Well, okay, so I encourage everyone to answer queuing, but I would add this asterisk. Kevin, why does it matter how much experience someone has versus they want to like listen about those kind of like new edge cases or new approaches? So for example, you drive your 15-year-old car, let's say, you like your car, you drive it, it's fine, but you at the same time are interested in like the newest Teslas and you like to watch YouTube videos about what's new in new Tesla. Even if you had the cash to buy a new Tesla, you would much rather like go to vacation or something.
yeah, but in the same time, if I would be listening to something, if this would be only about Teslas or only about stuff that is, like why should I care, right? So what I mean is that, mixing and matching stuff is very fun. And I'm gonna be also here totally honest. I would love to learn much more about the stuff we are talking about right now, because I honestly feel that one of the couple, I actually mentioned a couple of issues I have with programming even on the stream, like the release cycle, right? Maintaining a bigger code base, optimizations, introduced step by step, because These are the things that are very important skills, and they will be very useful at some point. And I just, sorry, I'm rambling way too much. Let's go back to the news. I just wanted to ask this question because I'm very curious.
I want to also touch on some other newsletters today, not only the Callstack ones. So let's do this. React Native Node API, we talked about this. Rosenite, we talked about this last week.
Very fun tool.
React Native Sandbox. Fuck, this is new. This came out just last week, and actually, like during the live stream, Michał Pierzchała sent it to me. And we haven't looked at it last week. So let's look at it briefly because, like, honestly, I'm not prepared to dive too deep into this. So,
okay, like high-level overview, what's that?
High-level overview is save micro apps in React Native. React Native Sandbox makes it possible run third-party code securely with complete isolation.
Oh, so is it something like the stuff we played with a couple of streams ago when we downloaded the app with ability to write an app in the app that runs the app? So basically, there's this small window that displayed the app that you prompted in the simulator. So is it kind of like this where it will allow you to run a code from somewhere inside your...
Well, I don't know, honestly. So like this is running multiple instances of React Native. And like you can do it with Brownfield as well. You can just register a few different React Native routes, and then all of them will be like separate context. They will not be able to communicate with each other with just regular JavaScript. They would have to like go through native. And then on top of running multiple instances of React Native, they sandbox it so it doesn't have access to something. Like run multiple fully isolated React Native instances within single application. So like the sandbox part of it, I don't understand it. I understand that you can run different like React Native routes in your app, like different multiple React Native instances. Putting into practice under the hood, showtime. So basically the main app will crash, but the sandbox app will give you this nice error because it's sandbox, so it doesn't like have the all of those privileges. And then like they expose sandbox React Native view, and on error, like I don't know. So like this is new. Yeah, look here. Can sandboxes communicate with each other? Not yet. All communications goes through the host app. So like you have this like different mechanism instead of like just using JavaScript. Directly.
Ryan asked exactly what I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to
What
interrupt.
is the purpose of these sandboxes? So let's see.
So now that we know how they know how they work, because they are basically like, I'd call them just like a web view allows you to display an HTML file inside your app. So just in the same way, the sandbox would allow you to display and inject JS, basically. But
Yep. Let's try it out. It might take a while, but
maybe we'll be surprised by AI this time.
Yeah, what I liked about Perplexity is like it will browse through many different websites in order to give me that answer, and like I really trust the result that I get because I also have like links to the sources there.
I mean, one of the things I would consider a nice use of the sandbox would be if you have some code for any reason that might crash, it would be better to handle it without crashing your whole app. So like more fine-grained error handling, but super app and mini app.
Okay, so like the super apps like Repack allows you to create. So the sandbox will restrict the privileges of the environment that they run in. So they will not be able to crash your app if something goes wrong in the code that you are not directly responsible for. For example, so like we saw on this on this video, right? The main app will crash, but the sandbox app will just give you this error.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And it kinda ties in what I mentioned previously. It's a very like cool knowledge and cool thing to understand and know. But I doubt I'm gonna use. I mean, kind of depending on the use case. Well, but it's a very specific and hard to figure out use case.
You know what? Like probably you won't use it directly. Probably with like the broader scope of the whole React Native environment. If we all start doing more and more like super apps and mini apps, blah blah blah, this will be just baked in. You wouldn't think about that as an API that you'd use directly. This will be just implementation detail under the hood of Repack or whatever. So like Ryan said, this is for testing purposes, but also we haven't talked about that, but like security critical applications, right? So you could use like this approach to like restrict some code from running with more privileges that you would want it to. But mostly based on this research is about multi-apps, super apps, mini apps, right? So like the React Native code that you fetch on demand from external source and run inside your host app. Okay, let's move on because I really want to be done with this newsletter from Callstack. I want to look at some other newsletters as well. React Native Enterprise Framework, we talked about that already. Core contributions. Kevin, you have your answer.
Nice. 4 years React, 3 years React Native. So I would assume 7 years overall. That we have a quite similar experience, honestly. Mostly TypeScript. Well, I started with JavaScript because I was assigned to a solo project as a developer, and I was afraid of TypeScript at that point. But thank you for that. So yeah, so for you it will be because at some point kind of like close down my question, the previous question. It's important to learn those new concepts because that's the only way to grow, to understand what is there more to understand. Like even learning about something, even learning that there is something that you don't understand is beneficial in my eyes.
Fucking definitely. Like do you want to listen to podcasts and like watch videos about something that you already know? Like mostly no, because you already know it. Like what you want to do is like consume the content that is like beyond your like current understanding but still reachable. Like you can still connect with it. It's not like too far away that like you have no idea what they're talking about. But like it's not something that it's like too easy for you to really care about.
Yeah, fair enough.
So like you wouldn't, so for example, you are interested in maths, right? You wouldn't like really listen to content about like addition and multiplication, but then you might want to listen to content about calculus, right? Because maybe you don't understand calculus this much and like maybe it interests you.
I know exactly what you mean because I've been down that path.
Oh yeah,
And
I watched that kind of content.
I started with calculus, but then I was like, I don't understand a thing. And then I took a step down. I was like trigonometry, and I still struggle to get that. And at some point, I was actually watching videos about addition, multiplication, and the order of calculations. So yeah. It was a very humbling experience to understand that after so many years of finishing my school, I still like I figured out that my fundamentals were very badly shapen. But in my defense, I blame the education system and kind of a little bit myself. But
okay, let's wrap up this. So the newsletter from Callstack ends with some mentions of new blog posts from us, some mentions of podcasts and talks that we did. I'm on a bunch of them. And then live streams. Yay! We are here. If you want to, there are some recordings and like I do a thread summary after every stream. And then React Universe Conf. If you want to hang out with us, come to Wrocław next month. You can. There is a full agenda already. Sorry?
It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, and I'm actually involved in creating the conference app. So yeah, if you find a bug in conference app, you know who to blame. It's me.
Wait, is it something we could do on the stream? Or very not?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
No, not at this point. Maybe next week. Like,
maybe next week. Not today, of course, not today.
Maybe next week that's actually a pretty good idea. Maybe next week we can just like work on the conference app and add some additional feature there.
Yeah.
But like most of like basic features are already done. We are still fighting with some bugs and we are in the testing phase. So like this app is not yet like ready to show on the stream. Okay, that's that. That's our newsletter from Callstack. Whew, it took us 1 hour to get through it. What about we go to the Bytes archive, to the bytes.dev, because it's been a while since we did the riddle.
The riddle, yeah.
Let's do the riddle.
Ryan gave a correction, 4 years in total, not 7, so I misread that. And he's finishing his studies this year. Good for you. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, getting out of school was such a blessing for me. Like looking forward to those free weekends. Such a pleasure.
Wow, this one is large. We have an existing filter recommendations function that takes 2 arguments: purchased products, potential recommendations. The goal is to generate a list of unique product recommendations, ensuring that products the user has already purchased are not included. Given that information, how can this code be improved? Okay. So filter recommendations.
Well, I would start with removing console logs.
So purchased, potentials, and then filter. So instead of...
Can you zoom in? We are very, very far away. I struggle to see anything. Oh, nice. Okay, I can see... Okay, I'm gonna get you through my thought process. Our main focus now is to improve the function filter recommendation, right? Okay. These are purchased products, potential recommendations. Wait. But those potential recommendations, how are they matched?
Well, it's already like there is no bug here.
No,
So we need
I'm trying
to,
to
from
understand
potential
first.
recommendations, we need to exclude, for example, 5, 6, 7, because they were already purchased. So like this function may be pretty slow in like large arrays, in large use cases. So it's because this function call is pretty slow.
Yeah, because it goes through whole array, right? So I would
Yeah.
start with
So like
using.
this is one loop, and under the hood this is the other loop.
So, like first small improvement, I would use find.
Find.
Yes, because this like returns a first index once it's found. Oh no, includes also, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
same.
So how would
Well,
improve that?
I think that there are array functions that are like any and some, and I think some is faster than includes.
I bet
then-
that there is some sort of a trick with making a set.
I was thinking about that, but like it's not about combining the arrays with no duplicates. It's about excluding the duplicates from the arrays. So like this is I was recruiting to Google some time ago, and then I was preparing for that like recruitment process, and there are a bunch of videos on the web and like on the actual interview as well. Like I found out that they really like this kind of issues where you have to use basically 2 pointers in order not to make the algorithm to be like 2 loops inside. So that's like not quadruple, like how is it called? Like complexity, squared complexity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always aim for log.
Either linear or log.
Yeah.
So like you can use linear if you use like two pointers. So first, if those are sorted.
Quick correction for Ryan. And also to understand better, because the main idea is, let's say you are inside a purchase cart, right? You are purchasing products, and the platform wants to recommend you products, but they don't want to recommend you something that you already have in your cart. That's why like turning that into a set wouldn't change anything, basically. I mean, one of the things, but I wouldn't really look at that this much, because
yeah, let's go to the solution.
No. I mean, one of the things, because in this case those IDs are incremental.
Yeah.
This is just I bet this is just a trap.
Yeah, if we have to sort it, then it's gonna add additional time and complexity. I'm thinking this will be like changed to like some or something, like like some or any will be faster.
It's still I would reverse that. No
then
way.
Like loop over the purchased products.
Yeah. I would loop over the purchased products, and because in that way you loop over the purchased products and you remove the purchased product from the potential recommendation, not the other way.
So I don't know, like if it's gonna be like in general terms any gain. Let's see let's look at the solution.
Yeah.
So It
There
is
is a
set.
set. I'm so happy right now.
It is set.
Yeah, because
So purchased products. Okay, so set has.
yes, because
Instead of
it has
looping over the array,
hashed.
we look
It
at
will,
the set has.
because it will calculate the hash and find it instantly
Nice.
instead of
Yeah.
nice.
It was like this is our the first idea was correct. We just had
So
to like
yeah,
go through with it.
Ryan, I give you back your like what's the word?
Valor? Credit.
I don't think yeah. I'm giving back your credit. You are correct. I don't believe I've stolen your valor.
Okay, let's see this. This is one of my favorite newsletters as well. I like the humor that's here. So the Next.js, blah blah blah, AI.
Ooh, would it be out of the scope to talk about Genie?
What is Genie?
Like it's new hype AI tool right now. It basically allows you to use a picture or a video to kind of step into it and interact with it just like you would interact with a game.
If you want, like you can share your screen and show it to us.
Okay, I will leave it after we finish with the, because it's not really related to React Native per se. It's more of a AI thing.
Yeah, like I'm
Can
not
we have
really
AI
that into
segment?
AI, honestly.
Can we have a small AI segment in the future?
Like I'm not really that about AI, honestly. I don't know. Like I know a lot about it, but like I don't feel that like this kind of platform is a like I'm not feel that I'm a good guy to explain it. I'm not prepared to explain it. There is like new AI SDK from Vercel.
Ooh, what do they
I
allow
guess
now?
that's nice. I don't know what it is. Byte says
Transcription.
what?
Nice. Transcription. Finally. God damn it. Finally.
Have you been using this like this SDK from Vercel?
This is the
This
only
particular
SDK.
one?
This is the only AI SDK I've been using. Like, there is no point in using anything else.
Okay.
It's simple, it's straightforward, and most importantly, it works. But one of the things I really missed is
Sorry. Can you then like explain what it is? Like not the 5, but like in general terms, what is the AI SDK from Vercel?
okay. So the first thing that happened in AI world was, of course, the Chat GPT with OpenAI, right? And they created their own SDK. So you could use their SDK in your React Native app, whatever. And they
SDK or
basically
API?
API. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they gave out SDK to help you use their API. So they created an actual library that you can just initialize with your API key, and then generate objects, generate responses, and interact programmatically with their service. But then a bunch of different other providers started appearing, like Anthropic, Mixtral, like a bunch of new AI providers. So Vercel created AI SDK as a way of basically you have the same tool set, like generate response, generate object, declaring tools, declaring like a way you would just interact with AI tool sets, and then the only thing you change is a provider. So you can swap out providers like that while still using exactly the same SDK. So it's like, that's why I love AI SDK, because it follows the same idea as React Native. It's write once, use everywhere. So you can write all of your like your app once, and you can be like, I'm wondering how it will work with Anthropic AI. And then you just swap the provider, swap the API key, and everything else works exactly the same. So I really love their AI SDK. And one of the things I really missed for quite a while now, and it's not from their side, it's overall, I couldn't really find anything like that done in a proper, correct, great way. It's transcription. It's one of my, like, basically every app I've ever thought of AI related in one way or another had transcriptions, because this is such a powerful thing. Like my first thing I ever thought of when thinking about AI related apps was, of course, AI powered notebook, where I can just talk and it will turn everything I say into notes, right? Or I can just turn on the app, lay it down in my school, for instance, and it will listen to everything teacher says, and it will create a nice like notebook entry for me from that, right? It would be amazing, simple, etc. But then the first block I hit was not, oh, how do I send info to AI to parse it into an entry? It wasn't that. It was, how do I transcribe everything that's said into a text? Because apparently, even though sometimes people use it to write text messages and stuff like that, it's not an easy thing to do. So I'm very excited that
No
transcription.
shit.
Yeah. And no, but that's, you might be laughing now, but, we can generate movies. Movies is a very strong word for that. We can generate a coherent clips of moving pictures with AI. We can generate lifelike portraits. We can chat with AI. And some people can be fooled by AI and think they are talking with a real person. And we still cannot just turn what I'm saying into a text. It sounds silly.
Well, we can. There
But
are tools to do that.
I mean, name one. I mean, okay, there is.
Descript.
Okay, there is a Whisper was the first thing ever that was able to do that. But even with that, it wasn't really easy to put Whisper on your phone. So overall, I'm just happy that transcription is getting more like easier to do, because I feel like more and more people, like, I love using Siri. I had to learn it for quite a while. I was very opposing to that, but once I learned how to use the commands, I use it every day. Of course, for more simple commands, but using voice is actually fun. But it's also often unreliable. And I was just surprised that making an app that uses a voice and transcribes what you say into text, it's very hard. And I didn't understand why. So yeah, I'm super excited to see ASDK 5 with let me I see you are not as excited as I am about that. So redesigned chat, it doesn't really well, okay. Agentic
No,
mood
like
control.
sorry. So like I'm pretty tired, and
I can see. I can
yeah.
see. No
So like
worries.
if we talk about something that doesn't like it's not really in my ballpark that much, I can like seem like I'm switching off.
Okay. Okay. So just like quick overview, very nice quality of life improvements.
If you want to like read this and like touch on some of the topics, I can give you the link on Slack, and I will take a short break, and we'll be in back in 3 minutes or something.
Okay.
And like you can maybe do this.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
but please help me like set it up
Yeah,
correctly.
so I'm gonna remove my screen, and I'm gonna wait for you to show your screen to like click present or invite.
Yeah. Okay. One second. 1 second. Where is the stream. Here's a stream. I'm so excited. We have a AI segment. Yay!
Well, it's about Vercel, so I allow
Don't
it.
take it away from me. Don't take it away
I'll
from
allow
me.
it. It's like I like watching like court dramas about lawyers and judges and stuff like that, and like this is a pretty common term. I'll allow it. Okay, increase the font size, please. Nice. And start talking. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Okay, no worries. Take as much as you need. Okay, so let's go through it. Let's dive into the details. The redesigned chat. So I believe that there was some sort of rebuild chat from the ground up. To be honest, I've never used the chat from AI SDK because I know that get UI message. Oh wow! To be fair, I didn't know that they have like parsing from their message to UI message. They use chat. Oh no, I'm totally wrong here. I've been using use chat. So great. Okay, so they redesigned it, but it's gonna be too complex now to get into it too much. Customizable UI messages. Create UI message stream. That's awesome news. Very streamlined way to use chat and to talk with your AI. Data parts. Applications need to send more than just LLMs plain text. Yeah, that's true. Data parts solves this by providing a first-class way to stream any arbitrary type-safe data from the server to the client. And how does that look? Create UI message. So I assume that those parts are actually on the server side. So you can execute writer, manual write start step of LM call. Oh, okay. So you can have more fine-grained control over what is on the client. We can then render the specific part when you use the same ID. Oh wow! Oh wow! So there is this concept. I think it was called artifacts, something like that. So basically, parts of UI that are connected to the LLM or any other AI and are more interactive in a way. So I believe that this will like improve how it's being displayed. Like I'm wondering now, do they have anything like artifact? Nope. So that might be a similar concept, but not exactly the same concept. What I was very curious about was the message metadata. No, it was type safe tool invocations. See, the problem with tool invocations is that they are usually more problematic on the AI provider side. So not really on the client side, because on the client side, you actually get what you wanted, but on the LLM side, I've run into an issue multiple times where with my incorrect formatting, I was basically breaking the LLM and it was starting to return a different schema than I wanted. But what I was curious was agentic loop control. So build reliable AI agents with precise stop when, prepare step, agent abstraction. That's very dope. So basically, when you have agents, right, and you create agents, you kind of give away the keys to your app to the LLM, right? And you don't often have an easy way to control how many times a call can be done, what are the corner cases of the call to be stopped, and things like that. So apparently now they added much more control over designing the agentic calls, which is pretty awesome. So, okay. Speech generation and transcription. And with OpenAI, okay, text to speech. So I wouldn't, and with Whisper, also from OpenAI, but I wouldn't be surprised if some more open source tools will give out their Whisper models and Whisper integration for React Native very soon. So possibly we will have a quite easy and nice way to have transcriptions in our apps very, very soon. It's very exciting for me, at least. Right? Wow, that's a lot of that's a lot of things that I missed a lot when I was writing agents. God damn. Yeah. Sorry, I if I would have to go into details, I would bore both the audience and Łukasz. I can see that Łukasz is already kind of falling asleep.
No,
So
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm
I
joking.
actually found. So, can I grab the screen from you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I just
So
I started sharing and then I got a little bit overwhelmed with amount of information they put out. But it's
so
nice.
I actually found some stories that we need to cover today as well. So, about the bytes, there are a few mentions here as well, but where is it? Where is it? Okay, so that's the pop quiz. We apparently sponsor this edition of Bytes, Callstack. Our React Universe Conf does. So like we have our whole agenda, and Matt Pocock will be actually hosting a Vercel AI SDK v5 workshop. So the thing you just talked about, Matt Pocock will be explaining on the day 0 of the conference. So like if you go here, if you go to workshops, it's about Vercel AI SDK v5.
There is a mean question towards me,
bro. When you was
writing agents, when you was writing agents, was was before Jurassic. Yeah, it's been quite a while now. So
the story is that Kevin actually had a position at Callstack for months. He was like
1 year.
Yeah, he was like exploring the AI possibilities way back then, like 2 years ago.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah,
it was 2 years ago.
It started 2 years ago, but I've been it finished something around a year ago, and I was exploring AI, like not just just running AI. And I'm kidding, of course. I'm not offended. But you are correct. It was quite a while ago, actually. So I've played around with agents, with tool calls and stuff like that. But those things that they added now, those more fine-grained control over the agent calls, I was really missing that because I had to figure out some sort of some sort of weird tricks and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a very nice catch, and it's very cool to see that people are actually now playing around with AI stuff. And I'm turns out I need to pick out my brush and excavate some of my knowledge about AI agents.
Okay, so let's finish up the AI segment, and then I jumped into this. I jumped into the React status newsletter that I also read sometimes, And then in here, I found this thing. FlashList v2 that was released a week ago.
No way.
Yep.
Wait. Oh, okay. I was playing with FlashList version 2 when it was still release candidate.
So FlashList is a drop and forget. Is that a term? Drop and forget? Plug and play? Okay. It's a replacement for FlatList for React Native that is significantly more performant.
With exceptions. With exceptions. But okay. I'm gonna get to that.
So it was released in 2022. Provide a drop-in replacement for FlatList. Blah blah blah. And then it has some limitations. So dependency on estimates. You had to provide estimated item size. There were native dependencies, and then precision issues, and horizontal list. Okay, so they eliminated estimates. That's great. So you no longer have to provide estimated item size.
That's great. So, I'm not sure, like, underneath how FlashList works, but the problem I had with FlashList, that in the end, FlatList turned out to work better. Like, FlashList would be a great thing if you had, like, thousands of items to display, right? Because basically, if I understand correctly, they are reappropriating the cells you are using to have a lesser amount of cells, but they basically take the same cell, right? They move it at the bottom, and they like, let's say you have 1,000 items, but they display only 100 cells, and they reappropriate these cells every time you scroll past them, right?
Yeah, that's the basic idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had a case where we had a smaller list, relatively smaller list, but the components were quite on the heavier side, meaning they had animations, they were interactive, and for that, FlashList wasn't able to render those cells fast enough, especially for like fast scrolling, right? So I just wanted to add that even though FlashList, I bet, is a great tool to have, it's not a like mindless drop-in replacement. It has its also downsides that you need to be aware of while using that.
So yeah, so basically they improved a few things that were not the best first time around. But you can control it with this, with max items in recycle pool. So like the mechanism here is like, it reminds me of my Android days, where the lists are handled with recycler view, which recycles the views basically. Haven't read much about this, so like I don't have any opinions about the V2, but like overall it looks great. It looks like, yeah, it's gonna be better this time with no longer estimating item size needed.
You know what would be a quite fun challenge for the next stream? Making an app, attaching one gesture handler, and displaying 3 separate lists, one from legend list, one from flash list, and one from flat list, and comparing their behavior.
Okay. Like at the same time? Like to like somehow pass the gesture to each list separately?
Now that I said it out loud, it would be dumb because they would be overstepping each other performance, kind of like taking, the juices out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, just like I had with Reanimated, maybe having 3 separate tabs, each one with a different recording that, seeing that in slow motion, whatever. It would be interesting, I think, because I've heard so many times about different lists and their, like awesome things and worse things, but it would be fun to experiment with that, I think.
Okay, let's drop the flash list. This is a huge update. I'm gonna write something about it after the stream. Try to bullet point all the changes, and then maybe let's not drag this too long. I don't know what other updates we should cover this week, and I'm pretty tired, so maybe let's wrap it up on this. I'm glad that you got to have your
small AI segment.
Yeah.
Quite excited to have that. I can actually prepare sometimes something for AI segments.
Let's do this. I'm gonna play the night driving music.
Ooh.
And then we can thank everyone for being with us.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for being with us on this week's episode of React Universe News, Tools, and Code. And we didn't get to live coding, but maybe next week we'll do that. That sounds like fun. So thank you, Issy. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, I am Mofi and Obsidian Rush for commenting. You're very appreciated. Thank you for that. Thank you for participating. If you were here from the beginning, you know that Łukasz was a bit tired today because of workshops, so the energy wasn't as high as usual. But
I think it was fine.
It was a smaller burst this time. Usually we are able to keep the energy high throughout the whole thing, but like this peaked and then we started getting tired. But no worries about that. Next week, maybe the roles will reverse. I will have less power. Anyways, thank you for participating. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening to the updates and our side of the. I keep blanking on words today.
Yeah, because it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thanks everyone. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, me, for being here.
Yes.
It's awesome that we are able to do this every week and learn something new. And we really learned something new today. So see you everyone next week. Mark your calendars. The same time next week, Thursday. See ya.
Exactly. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.